appeasement. I think it's pretty clear who our friends and enemies are. And I think it's about damn time we let the world know where we stand, because for so long, it was very clear where we stood as a nation. Ted Cruz will stand with Israel unapologetically and will terminate the disastrous Iran deal. And look, I don't want our troops being sent off to fight who knows where in who knows what country for God knows what. But we've seen that not calling out evil by its name and appeasement has gotten us so far. It has given us enemies who feel we don't say what we don't mean what we say. It has also given us a reputation of all talk and no action. And that stops under Ted Cruz. And lastly, freedom. I know our country, which is less than 300 years old, is exceptional. Countries and empires that have been around for thousands of years have never seen the amazing accomplishments, results, and ingenuity that has come from the United States. And the reason for this is very simple to figure out. Our founders set out to create a government that was unlike any other in the history of the world. It was an experiment. Can man rule himself? Should man be free? Could man be free? Because besides God, what gives Americans the freedom that we enjoy and have is a document that has withstood the test of time. Because it lays out what it is government cannot do, not what the government can. This amazing document birthed the greatest country on earth, and a country I'm so proud to be a part of, and I'm glad and proud to raise my children in. But year after year, president after president, more and more of the freedom allotted in the Constitution's taken away. Who here feels that freedom of speech is uninhibited anymore? You still feel the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms isn't being infringed on? I don't. How about the Fourth Amendment and your right against unwanted searches and seizures? You feel safe with your stuff? You feel there's a right to privacy anymore? You feel that's being observed by our government? More and more of the Constitution is being ignored. And this goes against everything that made us great in the first place. And Ted Cruz has spent his entire career defending the Constitution. And while all politicians who are elected are sworn to uphold it, he is the only one with actions, not words, who has done it. He believes in the balance of power in our government, and more importantly, believes wholeheartedly in the 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States of the Constitution are reserved to the states, to the people. Government is at its best when it is limited and it is local, because it is when the people are engaged and when they decide the course of action they want their city, their state, their country to take. Ted Cruz realizes this, while every other candidate pays it no mind. And it's for reasons like this that I'm supporting Ted Cruz. I just feel our country is at an absolute pivotal point. Bernie Sanders just grows our out-of-control government record and spending levels to even higher levels. Hillary Clinton gives us another 4 to 8 years of Obama policies at best, but is also completely untrustworthy and simply unlikable. And Donald Trump, while branding himself as an outsider of the system, if the old saying, putting your money where your mouth is, well, his money and his mouth have been in Washington insiders' pockets and politicians for 40 years to get things he wants and that benefit him. Plus, the action items he says he will implement to quote-unquote make America great again are either nonsensical or damaging in ways that are bad, if not worse, than what Clinton and Sanders would do. So to me, the choice for Indiana and the choice for America is Ted Cruz. We've seen it firsthand in Indiana, what common sense conservative values in government lead to. A surplus, in which our state is in the black, not in the red. A state that, while losing some jobs overseas, is gaining jobs from states around the country at a faster rate, almost faster than some states called Texas. And if you need further proof of what happens when you go the opposite way, look at our neighboring state to the west, Illinois, or to the north of us, to Michigan. Here is a state if not at the state level, at least major cities that are predominantly run by liberal Democrats. High taxes, out of control spending, union control of the private sector, and unsustainable pensions. How's that working for them? How many businesses are leaving Illinois and Michigan and moving to Indiana for this reason alone? Oh, and while we're talking small government and freedom and the Constitution, how are the gun laws in Chicago and Detroit helping keep streets safe? Over 1,000 people have been shot in Chicago this year alone. We're 4 months in. It's a small, limited government at the national and state level and an adherence to the Constitution that leads us back to greatness as a nation. And the only person who stands for these values and principles and has an actual track record showing it is Ted Cruz. And that is why he has my vote, and I hope he has yours. Now, the purpose of this recording and this podcast was for me to share with you my thoughts and my opinions on the election. Hopefully I was able to convey that in a way that makes sense and in a way that impacts you and at least gets you to think. If you feel that this needs to be shared, I would appreciate you doing so on Facebook, on Twitter, with all of your friends, whether they're voting in Indiana tomorrow, whether they're voting in future elections or future state primaries that are coming up. Heck, whether they voted already or whether they're going to vote in the general, because all of this matters. And this has been the 2016 election. What's at stake and what direction we need to take as a country by supporting Ted Cruz, according to me.